This is the One Piece Podcast, episode 510 for the week of Monday, March 12th, 2018. My name is Zach.
And my name is Ed.
And my name is Alex.
And on today's show, we have very special guest, translator for One Piece and Weekly Shonen Jump. We have Stephen Paul with us. How's it going, Stephen?
Hey, pretty good. It's actually kind of warm here, although I think I just need to run my AC or something because I'm very sweaty.
Well, I love your California updates. Sometimes they get a little too personal, Stephen. I don't mean to call you out here, but you know, the sweatiness. I
wasn't gonna mention what I was wearing, but you know, I could talk about how many articles of clothing I'm actually.
Save it for Patreon. Save it for Patreon. We also have our editor-in-chief, Kelly's with us. How's it going, Kelly?
Great. I leave for Japan on Saturday.
Whoa. What are you doing there?
Let me think if I could do it in the shortest amount of time possible. I'm going to Anime Japan, and
nice.
I actually won a lottery seat for the Persona 5 panel,
Uh-oh.
which is going to have all the voice actors, so I'll get to see Chopper and Katakuri's voice actors, because they do Yusuke and Morgana, and I'll be hitting the tower to have all the Vinsmoke birthday desserts, and the second half of the Shonen Jump exhibit, which starts this month as well.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah. We also have, last but certainly not least, from the Vintage Anime Podcast, Dennis is back. How's it going, Dennis?
Hello there. It's going good. In somewhat Japan-related news, my girlfriend and I are watching Sumo that's been going on right now on NHK World.
Nice. Yeah.
It is so
Excellent.
fun.
I saw my first Sumo last week, and it was really fun, actually. Yeah. Anyway. We have stuff to go through before we start. First, I want to mention, if you have not, please subscribe to us on Patreon. We're again reaching the $1,000 threshold. I don't know how that keeps happening, but if you subscribe to us on patreon.com/OnePiecePodcast, we'll wait until we pass that threshold again to add the newest episode of Alex and Steve Eat One Piece. Alex, I don't know if you want to briefly explain what that series is all about.
Yeah, me and Steve, but when Steve's not here, it's me, eat food from Japan that is One Piece branded. That started last year when we were at MatsuriCon, and we were given these weird
Funyuns.
They were sort of like Funyuns, yeah. with
a spice packet.
Yeah, a Trafalgar Law flavored spice packet. And Huntress Fan gave us. He sent me a crap ton of snacks, and when you and Steve were in town, we recorded a whole mess of episodes, basically going through every single thing that he sent. So look forward to that. If you haven't checked it out, subscribe to our Patreon. It's a really fun video series. I can't wait to do more.
Yeah, and there's still a few episodes in the can for that, so look forward to that. We also have our exclusive outtakes and more for the last few months, and we'll have a new one up. Well, it's March now, so I think the February one should be up pretty soon. There's also a bunch of other news. Kelly, you want to talk a little bit first about the One Piece Tokyo Tower?
Sure. So the Tokyo One Piece Tower is celebrating its third anniversary this year. And on March 9th and 10th, they had an anniversary celebration. And for people who are visiting within the next, I'd say probably couple months, if you buy a park pass, you're able to get the exclusive volume 333, which is the special manga that they're going to give out, which is all about the Tokyo One Piece Tower.
Nice.
And then they have a couple special menu items that they'll be celebrating, as well as some third anniversary merchandise. So it looks pretty cool. I'm hoping by the time I get there, I can still get my hands on one.
Yeah. Hopefully. You're usually have pretty good luck with merch, Kelly.
I do, yes.
In general. Let's also talk about what's going on at Uniqlo, and that's in the United States as well, if I'm not incorrect.
That's correct. So as part of the Shonen Jump anniversary, they're releasing a series of T-shirts from a lot of the different manga over the years. And I wasn't sure if the US was going to get them, but they are. So starting on April 23rd, they're going to be releasing T-shirts in men and boys sizes. And they're going to have about maybe, I think, 10 a week, give or take. And they're going to continue to release those into May. And there's some really cool One Piece ones on there. In particular, there's the scene from the end of Alabasta, which I think is going to be a pretty popular one.
Yeah, there's also an old school Fat Chopper one that I want to get my hands on.
Yes, I saw that. That one I think is the end of May.
Yeah.
Nice.
All before my birthday. Hell yeah.
Perfect
And that's
timing.
going to be both online as well as in the stores. But if it's like the 20th anniversary One Piece shirts, they will sell out really fast.
And Steven, there was one more thing I think we want to talk about before we get into the show.
Oh yes, Michael B. Jordan isn't the only famous actor who likes anime. We found out that
Kim Kardashian.
where did this come from? Was this from a Reddit?
This is from this is a
AMA.
Reddit,
AMA. Yeah, that John Boyega did, the star of the recent Star Wars films and Attack the Block and some Pacific Rim. Yeah.
Uprising? Yeah.
Lots of stuff, and he's one of the it guys now, and he was talking about some of the anime. Was it anime or was it manga specifically? Or
I believe
anime.
somebody asked him anime. Yeah.
Yeah, and he had mentioned a number of things, including One Piece. I believe he said like One Piece, of course, or something like that. Like, how dare you, suggest that I would not check out One Piece, and so that was cool. I know that made the rounds, and from what I understand, that did get back privately. That did get back to Oda, although I don't know if he had any comment on that. Maybe sometime in the future, we'll get to find. Yeah, maybe one day when John is doing some press tours in Japan for his movies, he'll have a little secret meeting with Oda or something. I'm pretty sure Oda can make that happen if he just puts in the word.
Yeah, come on, John. So the exact quote was, "What you got, Boyega?" And he responded, "Hunter x Hunter. I've got One Piece. I've got original episodes of Gundam, original episodes of Dragon Ball Z," which he spelt with the space in between, which I often forget to do and get yelled at by Steve. Naruto, I'm on right now. I'm waiting for the next season of Attack on Titan like everyone else. I mean, guys, it's hard to defeat the king of sci-fi, right? And that was his response. So today we are going to get into Peckham's escape plan with chapter 897. We also have a double anime recap. Ed, do you happen to have the numbers for those episodes?
No.
Despite Ed not having that information on hand, we will definitely be doing that this week, even though the anime was off on Saturday, right? It returns this one, though.
Yeah, I think one of these episodes was from like 3 weeks ago.
Yeah, it skipped 2 non-consecutive weekends. It was the Grover Cleveland of anime recap.
Yeah, there's been like one episode in the last like 20 something days.
Yeah. We're going to also, of course, do some piece together, and we're going to end as we have been with trivia. Why don't we get right into the show? Are you guys ready?
Yep.
Manga,
Do it.
This is the manga recap for chapter 897, Peckham's Cacao Island Escape Plan, which feels like a tongue twister. It is not. Ed, what's going on in the front page here?
Boom, Cacao. No, that's actually the saga of the self-proclaimed Straw Hat Fleet, Volume 29, Hyruden, Buggy's Delivery Escapee List, Shipwright, Stanson of the New Giant Pirates. This is our old friend, pro wrestling inspired from back in the Shabadi Archipelago. You can tell by the scar on his face, even though he has a lot more facial hair than he did then.
I'm
I
going to be
recognize
honest.
the name, but not the person.
Yeah, he didn't have a mustache. He just had like a chin beard, like he was a Mormon. No, wait, that's not right.
You mean Mennonite?
Yes.
Those are two very different things, Ed. Not going to get into that. I did not realize that at all. So good catch there, guys.
Well, the name caught me first because I know the wrestling inspired characters in One Piece, and he's one of them.
Oh, I see now.
By the
So
way,
thoughts on this? Yeah.
Yeah, I defo called it last week with the rest of these are just going to be a list of giant pirates.
I wonder if you can connect all the background pictures to make like a good image of their bridge on their ship.
Ooh, fun. I like that.
That would be fun. So yeah, any other thoughts on this incredibly action-packed cover page?
I think
Pretty cool,
it's yeah.
I like his belt.
I like his hammer.
You think that's an actual 5-ton hammer?
Yes.
Probably more than 5 tons.
Is that paper candy that he's got on his belt and wrists there?
Oh, the
Just in
dots?
case he needs a little snack.
Ooh.
Yeah.
I hope
Yeah.
so. I want it to
fine.
be.
I like he has a little boo boo on his arm.
Yeah. Just a little one.
These are
This
all
is,
ripe. These are all ripe for SBS questions. I'll put.
It's
I'll
his
put it
polio vaccine. That is a pretty interesting point, though, Dennis. If that's an actual 5-ton hammer, then like, chef
What's up?
kiss. Yeah.
Yeah, that's great.
Chef's kiss. Okay, let's get started, Ed.
All right. Time left until the Straw Hat Pirates meet up at Cacao Island. Just 4 minutes. And zoom in on the clock at the top of the mirror, and the lookout says, "It's the Straw Hat's ship." And from the Straw Hat ship, they say, "I'm amazed they got this many ships together." And I think they've spotted us. It's an enormous fleet, Jinbei says, and Nami says, "Keep your distance from the island, or they'll trap us from both sides." And Chopper's just like, "Ah, God, we're gonna die! Luffy, hurry!" And back on the Smoothie ship, we get someone asking Smoothie what they should do, and she says, "Form a solid wall behind them. Where else can they go from here?" And we get the little diagram with the chibi faces, and yeah, they're pretty well trapped between Cacao Island and Smoothie's fleet, trapped like rats. But on Whole Cake Island, there's a sort of a remote. People are listening in. So keep the transponder snail open. I'm keeping an ear on the situation there. Yes, sir, Master Montdor.
Are you not doing Casey's Montdork voice? Is that we're done with that? What was I can't even.
Keep the transponder snail open. I'm keeping an ear on the situation there.
Perfect.
Yeah. And back to on Cacao Island. Sanji is just waiting for Luffy. He's getting anxious.
He still has a cigarette. Yeah, it's
there.
looking worse that's what the thing was. Yeah, go ahead.
Oven sticks his bottom lip out. He's like, "Kid's testing my patience." Come on out anytime you like, Straw Hat. Ah! And then the whole crowd goes big pop, and the mirror starts to wibble and wobble and roar, and go to the next page.
This is a really good 2-page spread.
Actually, before you switch, can we talk about how awesome Smoothie's boat is with that mixed drink mast?
Mm-hmm.
Ooh,
Because that is everything.
I want to drink it.
Stephen, what were you gonna say?
Did we talk about how convenient it was that they did find the one mirror that had a clock on it on Cacao Island?
No. So I think what actually happened, to be fair, is they destroyed all of the mirrors, and they probably just ahead of time. It's like, let's find the perfect mirror for this situation.
Exactly. Yeah, that there just happens to be one that.
But
has
it's
a
not
very ornate
It's not
clock on it.
coincidental. I think they probably
No.
literally searched out for it. Yeah.
Maybe they brought it with them.
Yeah, it's possible. Because they knew it was going to be a timed event. Yeah, I didn't notice Smoothie's ship also has the ingredient parts of a smoothie, including a slice of strawberry and an apple.
That's
It's
cherry,
the,
I think.
Or cherry?
Yeah.
No, on the back of the ship. There, that's a strawberry slice with the seeds.
Yes.
No, that I know. I think we were
Or,
debating the one to the left of the.
The fruit next to the cup.
An apple?
It
I
looks
thought
like
that was an apple.
That's a
yeah.
leaf.
It does look like an
That's
apple.
what I thought. Okay. And there's a
Did,
lemon
her-
slit.
Cherries are longer.
Yeah.
They have a longer stem.
It's the SS Girl Drink Drunk.
Oh, I love
The
those.
Hall fans out there.
Yeah.
That's just what I want to drink when I'm on a rocking ship.
And yet again, cruise ships exist.
You always put Dramamine in that smoothie.
Yeah. I don't think Smoothie's that
All right.
caring about it. Steven, go ahead.
Well, we literally go through. We're doing like a Garth and Wayne going through the mirror here on the in the corner of the panel, and we see. Yes,
Thank you.
And we see Peckham's running along with Brule and Luffy, and Luffy is asking, "What, Sulong?" Like he has not heard this term yet, and Peckham says, "Yeah, I've never turned into him. Going into Sulong form turns me into an unthinking, rampaging monster, and at that point, I can't hear nobody or nothing except for one man's voice, and that was Pedro. And we get a little flashback to Pedro commanding Peckham's to stop, and he reveals that for whatever reason, only Pedro's voice was capable of breaking into Peckham's subconscious to calm him down. So now we finally get the reasoning, which I had completely forgotten about, as to why Pedro needed to be with the group to keep an eye on Peckham. So
interesting that they draw Pedro with both eyes in that flashback there.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Well, you know, they've known each other for a while, right? Could have been since before that.
That could have been when he was a kid.
But yeah, so basically he is revealing that without Pedro, there is no one left in the world who can stop him once he goes into Sulong form. And as he runs up the Escher staircase there, he's telling Luffy that it's a full moon tonight. So if I start going out of control, you need to take that opportunity to get off the island. And meanwhile, Brule is sort of taunting him and insulting him, calling him a traitor. This will never work. There's enough firepower at the island to wage an entire war. So even in Sulong form, they'll get you in just seconds. Wee. And his rebuttal is "Shut up!" And here we go. They're going up the stairs.
Just do it and be legends.
We'll do it live. They're running up the stairs to the mirror, and he's saying, "Don't let Pedro's sacrifice go to waste." And Luffy, despite feeling really tired, which you can tell because he's got the Muppet eyes right now, he's like, "Got it, thanks." So
Brule is just the punching bag of this arc. Consistently. I mean, more than Caesar even, just because Caesar hasn't been around in a while.
I mean, even some of her siblings think she's kind of a dweeb.
Yeah, but not one of her siblings, which we'll find out soon. Dennis.
Back on Cacao Island, we get an eek and a help me coming out of the mirror. And everyone's like, oh, that voice came from the mirror. Could that have been Sister Brule? More of the crowd is talking about how she's been captured by the enemy, most likely Straw Hat Luffy. And as people are starting to come out, they're getting ready to take aim. And then with a very, very anticipated look, we have Oven and other people, and Sanji then says,
sorry to interrupt, but is that guy supposed to look like a pineapple in the top right? Not top right, but like middle top right.
With the leaves sticking out of his head?
The crazy palm tree looking hair.
What's that Pokemon?
Executor.
The Alolan version of Executor. It could be like palm tree leaves, pineapple beard. I don't know.
Pineapple beard. There we go. Go ahead.
And it's not Luffy that comes out of the mirror, and it's definitely not Katakuri that comes out of the mirror, but it is this. Who is that mysterious person in black holding Brule all tied up? And without missing a beat, one of Big Mom's crew goes, "Peckham's?" It's like, wait, what? Peckham's, what are you doing here? And Peckham's is confused, thinking his disguise was going to fool somebody for at least a little bit of time. Nope. And he tries to have his little standoff with the Big Mom Pirates. Don't move, Big Mom Pirates. Don't try any funny business with me unless you want to see your beloved sister's head blown off. Grrr. And everyone else is yelling for Brule. Brule, Sister Brule. No, stop it, Peckham's. And even Brule is... Well, she does have a gun pointed at her head. Help me, everybody.
To be fair, she's had a gun pointed at her head for this entire arc, just about. So, again, shouldn't be a huge surprise. The sunglasses are off. What happens next, Steven?
Just like David Caruso.
Yeah.
What pun does Peckham start with here?
Well, he doesn't because he's taking them off. That's the point.
Oh, yeah.
I found a loophole.
You did.
Yeah.
David Picuso? I'm trying to. No.
Ugh, no.
No. I'm just trying. Okay, go ahead.
While you're ahead, buddy.
I'm way behind.
Yeah, unlike Zach, Peckham's is cutting his losses. He's like, well, that wasn't going to last anyways, because he was going to. The plan was always to transform. So the glasses are off. He's looking right up at the moon. And he's as he's preparing to transform, he's reiterating his determination. I got to keep Straw Hat alive. He was the man that Pedro placed his bet on, that he sacrificed himself for. I got to keep him alive. And we get a wider shot, and we see it looks like it's Peckham's, but all of his hair is like growing out. It almost looks liquidy. It's looking kind of crazy, and all the people around are like warning, oh, he's turning too long, and they say, oh, don't you stop it, you're going to go out of control, you got to hold him down. But Peckham's has he's made up his mind, and he's kind of crackling with energy as his mane expands, and he's like, prepare yourselves. And Oven finally recovers and says, what kind of bizarre diversion is this? I was expecting Katakuri or Straw Hat, but instead it's you, and you're popping out of there for no reason with a gun pointed at my dear little sister. And he's burning with his heat-induced rage. And it literally causes, he's fire started. He causes the gun to alight in Peckham's hand, and he immediately tosses it up into the air as his paw is on fire. Yow! And then Oven goes in for the attack with a heat beating, which it was kind of a clever bit of punning. I don't know if you guys remember with Daifuku, he had that one that was like it was the cause of the Genie Weenie. It was like the Genie Wine rage split that I did. Mm-hmm. This was a similar one where he kind of made up a word. So like if you read it phonetically, it would be heat denash. But it's actually a corruption of hito denashi, which means like a beast, like you're not human. You're a monster. Oh, you brute! How could you do that, sort of thing? And so I was like trying to come up with like sort of catchy little heat related things, and so I ended up with heat beating because it's like a beating, but it's also reminiscent of like beat the heat sort of thing.
Okay.
There you go.
Heat down?
And what's that?
A heat down?
Heat pound?
A heat down, like a beat down.
There you go. Yeah, heat down. That's pretty good.
Beat down.
Yeah. That's a spicy heat down. He hits Pickham's, and then Luffy just appears in this panel. And to be honest, I have not really been able to tell where Luffy was supposed to be up to this point, because like unless he was like hiding around the back of Peckham's
in
jacket.
Between Brule and Peckham's.
If you look on the panel where he jumps out, you can see Luffy's arm between Peckham's. And
he's squished in between.
Okay.
Shit.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. I completely missed that.
I did miss that.
All right, that makes much more
bandaged
sense.
arm. Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice.
Okay. All right.
Wait, how did that get bandaged so quickly?
Mystery solved.
Yeah. Go ahead.
It's the natural healing of One Piece.
I know.
So yeah, he knocks Luffy loose, and Luffy, falls with a thud to the ground, as does Peckham's a little further behind him, and everyone notices that's Straw Hat Luffy. And at that point, Sanji talks through the phone saying, Luffy's out. He's letting the crew know that Luffy is out of the mirror world.
And we have the reaction from the crew, which is cute, fun. I love every part of this little panel here.
Even
Especially
the snail.
Especially the transponder snail, which we've seen the trademark Straw Hat transponder snail a bunch. I think it got introduced at Punk. It got introduced after Thriller Bark, I think. But cool to see.
That snail looks high as.
Most of the transponder snails in the series do look high as hell. Jinbei has one of his 3 facial expressions there.
Chopper's is the best, though.
Chopper and Nami. I like Nami's too. It's a genuine reaction there. And Luffy with his one Muppet eye, so he's getting kind of back to normal here. Realizes that he is now kind of in plain sight here. And so everyone notices that Straw Hat is indeed there and try and start attacking him, starting with Pineapple Man, who notices that I guess he escaped from Katakuri and totally did not beat him, and then popped out of the mirror. Worthy of respect. Just escaping, I guess. Meanwhile, a bunch of random dectuplets say Yahui, which is, I guess, a word, and the scythe and sickle and whatever people with the bowler hats start coming after them. One of them has a beanie, is that right? I don't know. And like a Bowser
Derby, I
back,
think.
a derby and a Bowser back. Um, and Luffy escapes by jumping over the rooftops of Cacao Island. I don't know if he realizes, but if he needs some sustenance, it's literally all around him. But we'll see if that develops anywhere. Meanwhile, Raisin, our favorite of the Charlotte family, comes up, and I guess is his sword hockeyifying? Is that what's going on there too?
I think that's just how Oda draws swords, you know?
No, yeah, but
Yeah.
it's the
The
sound,
sound
effect.
effect.
I was referring to the sound effect.
Oh, you mean that Zur?
Yeah. Or that might just be him taking
I
the
think
sword
that's
out.
I think that's him pulling it out, and then the glint is like the little shine, the
Yeah.
reflection.
Yeah. Okay. Sorry, I just want to make sure. He says, "Have at thee," and Luffy, not understanding old English witticisms, just seems shocked and taken aback. But luckily, to save the day, here is Sanji. Love this panel as he kicks
Yay!
Raisin in the face, which I'm sure many kids have wanted to do if their parents have tried to give them raisins. I like raisins, but I know I am not an average.
Nature's candy.
Yeah.
Take that, California.
That's beats.
Beets? No. That's what I would want
They're
to
not.
beat.
Beats taste like dirt.
Yeah, they do. Let's make that clear. That is why there is no beet named character thus far in Totoland. And everyone notices that Brother Raisin was thrown into a chocolate building, I assume. And Luffy is happy and surprised to see Sanji. Or I don't know about surprised, but happy to see Sanji there. Alex?
So Sanji says, so you won. And Luffy gives a really great I just won smile. Says, sure did. And Sanji had all the faith in the world, he tells him. Says, I knew you could do it, as he's moonwalking away with Luffy in his arms. And the Charlottes notice that he's flying away, and Oven says, hardly. This is all within expectations. We've covered all our bases here. And they have, as UN and a couple of the dectuplets are in the sky already. UN says, plenty of yes know how to use moonwalk. So Michael Jackson wasn't the only one, apparently. Meanwhile, back on the ground, Peckhams has been overcome within moments, as was predicted by some of the Charlottes, and they say crush his eyes so he can never see the full moon again. And this is actually super, I can't, like, it's very, like, oh no, kind of cringy. And he protests, but he seems to have gotten a scythe to the face.
Yeah.
Yeah, so.
It really looks that way.
Yeah.
That's the part where the zombies get the one guy, the straggler.
Yeah. I hope his eyes are okay. Ugh. Otherwise, those sunglasses are going to be for more than just show. So UN says not so fast, as he So that weapon that he had was this ball attached to a staff. The ball has grown huge. One Piece logic. He says, "How dare you ignore me?" As he takes a swing and nails Sanji and Luffy. By the way, Luffy has passed out in Sanji's arms at this point. Now that he is, now that Sanji has Luffy, Luffy says, "Oh well, I guess this is safe enough to pass out now." So you'll notice a giant snot bubble on Luffy's face as Ewan is about to cream Sanji and Luffy. So they get they get smacked right into the ground, breaking it, as they are then surrounded by still more Charlottes.
Shoot him dead.
Shoot 'em dead, Mawa. Next page.
Kelly, yeah.
So now we've got Luffy and Sanji on the ground with a ton of weapons pointed at them and a crap and an oh damn. You're outnumbered. Try as you might. You can't overcome a disadvantage like this. Yeah. And suddenly we start to hear what sounds like some bullets, some ching, ching, ching sounds. And everyone is getting attacked.
Who the hell are these guys?
Who could it be? And
well, no,
the
I
next thing,
meant these random guys. But sure, yes, also that.
I'm going to say that the randos are Charlottes.
No, I agree.
I think is that Charlotte Mukuru with the long arms?
It might be. Oh, the one with the hat as well?
In the middle,
Yeah.
the
It might
third
be.
panel.
I think there's a couple of long arm Charlottes.
And
Yeah,
we've got this
you're right.
pumpkin-headed guy as well.
There's a few of those guys too. Yeah.
There's at least
What?
there was the one who was an actual pumpkin, I think. But
Yeah.
anyway, go ahead.
And suddenly we have a gigantic explosion at the harbor. And Oven is like, what's that? Hey, what just happened? What's going on? Ships are burning along the shore. It's another fleet, Master Snack. Oh, yeah? Who?
So I love Brownie. He's just like, what? I don't know.
I love
I
that
feel
we
like-
get to see what Snack like really looks like here in this and the next
Yeah.
panel. I
Kinda
really
looks
like
like
his
a-
design. Yeah.
Like a Hanna-Barbera character.
He
He
So-
does.
Yeah.
So we get a close up of his face on the next page, and that explosion was revealed to be Germa's fleet. They have come and flanked the fleet docked on the harbor. The Charlottes are like, oh, what are they doing here? They should have been annihilated hours ago. And we see all the Germa clone soldiers, which we haven't seen in like forever, by the way, line up and just ready for orders as the orders are given to load the next volley. And we see a great shot of the Germa fleet in its entirety. Oven exclaims, "It's you! It's you!" And and when in the middle of the skirmish, you hear, "We really owe you one for the tea party, Big Mom pirates." Sanji notices, as Luffy is sleeping, of course, that it's you guys. What are you doing here? And it turns out, yes, it's Germa 66, our favorite douche bros. Favorite douche bro Sentai squad. What a coincidence, Sanji. We were just hoping to enact some payback of our own.
I can't remember
And-
if we came to a consensus with those voices, but sure. Go ahead.
Well, I don't think we did, but I remember the last time I was on and a Germa soldier was there. I was just, I don't know, whatever. Either
Go
way,
for
we
it,
have this
yeah.
really fun spread with Sanji's brothers surrounding him, and Ichiji's got some blood on his hands. So looks like they're ready to kick some A. And that's the end of the
Reiju's there
chapter. Oh, yeah, and Reiju's there too. But where's Judge?
Good question.
So, begun the Clone Wars have here. I apologies.
Jesus.
How many times have we said that, by the way, this entire arc? I feel like a couple.
I'm totally not the first person to say that because I'm never the first person to say a joke unless it's a really bad joke, which I did earlier. Anyway, let's talk about this chapter. That'll do it for 897. Luckily, it does not say you have to wait until next week for 2 weeks for. I feel like we've been having a lot of breaks recently, so I'm just having
Yeah,
a little.
next week we're gonna have an anime episode and a manga chapter. So
There we go. Yeah, nice. Everything's gonna be back for at least 1 week. So let's go
Well,
through.
the anime doesn't go off that frequently.
That's true. Let's go through thoughts, opinions. Dennis, let's start with you.
I like this chapter. Wasn't as good as like last week's chapter was just phenomenal. But this one was still pretty good. I know that a lot of people were hoping that Germa 66 would show up in some capacity, so it's nice to know that not everything is unpredictable in One Piece. That's cool. And it's interesting seeing some of these other minor Charlotte families like fighting abilities and stuff too. So hopefully some of them will also get some spotlight as well. And poor Peckhams. That's it.
Wow, that was nice and succinct, Dennis. Alex, what did you think?
So the best thing about this chapter to me is the layout of all the pages. There are a lot of double spreads here, but they're not like what you'd think, like the kind of double page spreads that we got in Marineford, where it's just one giant beautiful panel. The way the double page spreads are laid out is really pleasing to the eye, and I would say really beneficial for a digital format. If you look at the first, like as soon as the chapter starts, it's everything is laid out everything is laid out horizontally, and rather than leading your eye from right to left on each page, it's from right to left through an entire spread, and just looking at it on my monitor, it's just a really beautiful looking layout. Especially the panel with the explosion at the harbor. It's almost symmetrical, and the Germa page is very nice too. But the one thing that's the biggest thing that I noticed in this chapter, in terms of just like how it looked, really great art too. Sanji kicking Raisin in the face comes to mind also. Plot wise, everything kind of went as expected. I wasn't expecting Sulong form to be taken care of so easily. I'm a little disappointed we didn't get to see Peckham's rampage. I feel like Peckham's is the Hachi of this arc. He just keeps trying to help and gets clowned every time.
I don't think
That's
he
pretty
was
good.
that well trained in Sulong too, unlike Carrot.
Oh yeah.
Well, he left he left so long time ago at this point,
Yeah.
didn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, I guess he wouldn't have gotten trained.
Yeah.
Snack, I want to see his full design, but it looks like he's wearing armor made out of watermelon.
He's got kind of an eggplant nose.
Yeah, it's very it's very asterisk. Sorry, Asterix. Jesus. Oh my God. I'm the last person who should have gotten that wrong. But very bulbous nose.
It's Ernie's fleet.
Hey, Bert. Ernie's got his own fleet. So this chapter I feel really shows the Charlotte's strength in numbers. They don't seem like they're faltering at all, and it's the one time in recent memory in the time skip that I can really we really see our heroes get completely overwhelmed. Like even when Sanji and Luffy are escaping, they just get knocked out of the sky, and if Germa didn't come to save them, they would have been shot at and killed. So.
Well, recall that the last time Germa and the Straw Hats were together, they also had gotten utterly annihilated, if not for Tamate Box exploding.
Sure.
So,
This is a great arc for that. Everybody was saying, "Oh, the Straw Hats are too strong," well, this is a pretty good equalizer.
I mean, at one point in the series, I assume the Straw Hats are going to be too strong because he will become the king of the pirates at one point in the future. But we have a while, I think, until that day.
Sure.
Any other thoughts? Yeah. Okay.
Nope.
Kelly.
So I thought it felt really, really fast, this particular chapter.
Mm-hmm.
Not that that's necessarily a bad thing, but, I think I agree with Alex. I really liked the action sequences on the different pages, in particular the Sanji kick. I hate raisins, so I was happy to see him kick Raisin. Wasn't surprised by Germa showing up. I think we all knew if they were going to show up, it was going to be then. But I have to say, it was still very exhilarating to have them appear like that. I like the idea of that sort of idea of closing off the last bit of Sanji's story by giving him the opportunity to fight with them again. I don't necessarily agree that Peckham's is completely subdued yet. I'm kind of holding out to see if he's going to do a little bit more. And I don't know why, but I'm kind of wondering if all this talk about Pedro is to have him suddenly show up to stop Peckham's. I kind of don't want that to be the case, to be honest. I like the idea of the sacrifice being the sacrifice, but I was just... I don't know. For some reason, I was thinking about that when he was going.
It gives him a reason to come back.
Exactly. I felt it opened the door.
Where was Pedro when he blew himself up again?
Whole Cake Island, and he was right outside the Seducing Woods.
Yeah.
Well, it's also. I mean, Whole Cake Island is also the last place we saw Germa, right?
Yes.
And the Fire Tank Pirates.
And no, at the Fire Tank Pirates. I mean,
We saw the Fire Tank
yeah.
Pirates like 2 weeks ago, right?
Yeah, they made it to Cacao Island much
Whole
quicker.
Cake was the last time we saw Caesar, though.
But I assume it took Germa was also in a fight before they left.
Correct.
And Capone was not. He did his Looney Tune sign that said to go the wrong direction. Stephen, before I throw to you, I have a question. I forget the name of the guy who has the beady eyes.
UN?
UN? So I assume he's talking like someone from Brooklyn. You know how use guys moonwalk, you know?
Plenty of use know how to use moonwalk.
Yeah, you know how to. Yeah, that's why I assumed, but I was incorrect, I guess.
Yeah, I was gonna give him like a New York City mook voice, but it's not use, it's Yus.
I kind of hope it is you. I wish it were use. I should. There's no reason to hope.
Hey, use, get out of my way. How about a pizza?
Hey, I'm moonwalking here.
Hey, I'm moonwalking here. Hey, well, me too. Here's a pizza.
But it's perfect with that face. It just doesn't fit at all, and that's why I love it. It's just. Anyway, Stephen, please.
Okay, yeah, it was it was a decent chapter, I would say. Like I like that I feel like we're kind of maybe finally out of the Miro world for good. Never say never, but Luffy being out, I think, is a very good thing, that we're finally kind of past that stage of the story. And it was kind of thrilling to be like, oh my God, Peckham's is going to go Sulong, this is going to be crazy. And then, yeah, I will admit it was a little disappointing that we didn't get to at least see him for like, a page or two at full power before he gets subdued.
Especially with the title of the chapter, when you think about it.
Yeah. But the whole point was that he was going to, sacrifice himself to keep Pedro's sacrifice going, et cetera, et cetera. But on the other hand, like I do think that, it's probably not a bad thing for there to be at least like one, for someone to serve as fodder to show that like all these Charlotte family members are not just random mooks, but they're tough in their own right. And, they certainly seemed to take care of Peckham's pretty quick. And then like Kelly was saying, yeah, the Germa moment was not particularly surprising, but it was kind of thrilling. You get kind of a bit of a like a Lord of the Rings kind of vibe. Oh, here comes the new force in to save the day. Although these ones are, I think we're okay feeling a little conflicted about how great this is that they're coming to the rescue, since they are still kind of douchebags. Like,
well, they're making it clear that they're doing it for themselves too.
Yeah, sure. That's the thing. Yeah, he does say that, and that is worth noting. Although, if you were also being like the stoic, like I'm not going to admit that I really care. That's right. The same thing that you would say, but. Given the backstory with their not having emotions,
yeah, both are probably true.
Yeah, given their backstory with not having emotions or whatever, like it, I think it's okay to believe that they're just doing it for payback. But it's interesting. I guess we're not, we weren't going to get the moment of Sanji being like a complete like Zoro versus Pika level badass, just like completely leveling the entire square. But I guess that would have perhaps been a little bit much to imagine. And this is probably cooler from a story perspective.
Yeah, so and I mean,
we'll see where it goes.
I mean, Oven and him still, I feel like, have the potential.
That's true.
Yeah, to clash. Yeah. There's just a lot of people there, and they all should be pretty strong. I mean, if you think about it, they're all part of the Charlotte family, just about. So they all should be somewhat formidable opponents. Anyway, Ed, what did you think?
I just want to second, first of all, Alex's thoughts about the panel layout, especially in the very first page. I just love the way that reads, like the way it zigzags and goes across where you think like the page would be split down the middle, and just sort of you flow right past it. I love the way that's laid out. With respect to, I love the comedic timing of Peckham's being immediately revealed, and everyone immediately catches him. It couldn't have gone any worse for him. Like, because they had this triumphant moment I was listening to some triumphant music when he like leapt out of the mirror. It was a pretty good. I managed to time it perfectly. I was listening to the soundtrack from the movie The Natural, so it's when he hits the home run and Peckham comes out of the mirror. But anyway, but he's immediately found out, and that gag doesn't really get old for me. But I do want to say, Oven. I bagged on him a little last week. He stepped up this week, although the situation is starting to go a little bit sideways. So he's not really holding it down.
I mean, if it weren't for Germa, I think they would be doing a pretty damn good job here. It's the Deus Ex Machina kind of helping him. I mean, it was set up from a while back, but any other thoughts, Ed?
I just think that when Sanji kicks Raisin in the face, it kind of looks like the Devil Man running a little bit. Because I love the way his foot is so large in the foreground there.
Yeah, it's a cool panel.
Yeah.
I like that panel. Any other thoughts?
That's it.
Okay. I'll be quick. This might be one of our quicker recaps in a long time. And Kelly, even before we started, I think you said this was a short chapter, but it's not a short chapter. I think it's a normal length from what we've been having the last few years.
Oh no, she said it was a fast chapter.
Oh, okay. Well, regardless, it definitely was a fast chapter. But that, as everyone else also reiterated, is not a bad thing. Yeah, I echo what Alex and Ed said. The layouts were great. The drawing was, I think, on point. The fights were dynamic. I like these new ridiculous Charlotte characters. Alex, I think you were raving about them last week.
Yeah.
And this chapter definitely reinforces just even all the little. We didn't like get into super detail about it like we sometimes do, but all the little guys in every little panel are all interesting designs and funny or cool or whatever it may be. And I think this was a great companion chapter with last week. That's kind of how I would view that. I think last week's chapter is great. I think this week's chapter is great. Last week's chapter was definitely stand out, but I think it goes super well with this one, and the two of them together kind of make this great end of one thing, beginning of this next kind of part of the this next little section of the Whole Cake Island arc. Yeah, I don't know if there's much else I have to say. I think we're definitely going to see Peckham's in his Sulong form. I mean, it would be really remiss if Oda just like, if he just like teased that out and then just it never happened.
I'm going to show you the first part of it. No more though.
Yeah, that's just cruel.
This thing I said was cool. You know, don't worry about seeing it. It's cool. Take my word for it.
I mean, we would take Oda's word for it, but we want to see it. I want to get to the fireworks factory. Anyway, that's going to do it. Let's get into some anime recap. Are you guys ready?
Yeah. Let's do it.
Okay.
This is the double anime recap for episode 826 and 827. I'm your host Sam, and today with me we have, once again, we have a good friend Ed.
Hello, Sam.
Hey.
Yeah, it's good anime this week.
There is some anime this week. Actually, we are the schedule got really weird. So
it's off 2 of the last 3 weeks for the men's marathon and the women's marathon. So
yeah, so this is the episode. So this is the second to most recent episode aired, and then there was a break, and we still didn't have a recap. And then the next episode aired after the break, and now there's another break this week. So
yeah,
we got the two most recent episodes. We're covering that today.
We'll be back on a regular schedule next week.
So the first episode is 826. Sanji comes back. Crash. The tea party from hell.
Dramatic conversations.
Yeah. The title card begins at 4 minutes and 21 seconds. We begin with the outskirts of Sweet City. Sanji is basically Luffy's catching him up, and Sanji is surprised to hear that Jinbei is around, that he showed up and saved the day. The rain is starting to stop, kind of symbolizing that the turmoil is over. We come to the mirror world where Chopper is rummaging around. He's like, "Oh, I think this should do it." He finds a shard of mirror that connects to the mirror that was by King Bomb when they first went into Brulee's mirror world. So there must have been like a shard of glass, a shard of mirror that was kind of hanging off of King Bomb's quote unquote body. And King Bomb's is the big tree that they're like kind of leaning up against in the Luffy Sanji side of the scene.
This whole first half of this episode is just a bunch of exposition conversations. I mean, some of it is dramatic and emotional, especially with like and they do some good gags with like Brook doing like old timey language. He's like the third part of a joke and he doesn't get it. He does that a couple of times. Sanji getting like an arrow through the heart and Nami sort of toying with him a little bit and being very sweet about it was, it's very slow pace.
Yeah, these are a pretty slow couple episodes. Luffy's telling Sanji about the mirror. He's like, it's a long story, but they're in a mirror dimension, and this is how we can talk to them. So the shard of mirror is like their telephone, basically.
At one point, Jinbei picks Chopper up by the antler and just holds him up and talks like he's on the phone.
Right, yeah.
Great.
So they're telling him, the crew is telling him that, hey, Brook got the poneglyph, and Luffy is like, oh, that sounds great. I'm real impressed by you guys. And then everyone's like, doing the rubbing the back of their head, like, ah. And Pedro's asking, so did you guys finally come to an agreement? And it turns out Sanji is not coming back yet. They have to crash the wedding first, Big Mom's tea party. And there's kind of this moment of tension, like, how's the crew going to react to this? Are they mad? Are they sad that Sanji's not back yet? But then they're relieved. They go yippee. At least everything's okay. And then this is when Nami has her line, the for terrifying me like that, I will never forgive you. And then like the arrow coming out of the mirror shard and piercing him in the chest doesn't really work because it's like from a word bubble in the manga version.
I don't know. I still liked it. I like the gags. I like the gags in the first part of this episode. Second half of this episode had some other stuff that I liked.
This is when Jinbei grabs Chopper by the antler and he is lifting him up. So now Chopper's the phone basically, and he warns them of the forces that will be at the wedding. More of Big Mom's children who we have not met yet, and underground.
Yeah, montage
rulers,
of many of them. Yeah,
and talking about the underground folks, the secret business people that Big Mom has invited, who we don't know a whole lot about yet. There's like this overlong. This is one of the more egregious examples of like the pacing this week is just real effed. Because
are we talking about like the counting to 10 part?
Yes,
the part where everyone counts to 10.
Yeah, they're like, the number of people we have on our side is 1, 2, 3, going through all the characters, 4, 5. And then like the joke is that at the very end, Brule and Diesel are 9 and 10, and they're like, don't count us.
A good gag, but takes a lot of time.
Yeah, that brings us to the eye catch of the episode. There's a scene where, similar to how we saw Katakuri arriving for the wedding early in the morning, we meet another of Big Mom's children, Daifuku, Minister of Beans, and we get to see a glimpse of his power. He like summons like a genie from his belt, and the genie goes under the door and like is able to open the door from the inside. I kind of get like this because when Katakuri was introduced and he's like, oh, don't worry, it's about to open. Like he predicts that it's about to open. Like I almost and like that seems that's like a kind of a cool way of like giving us a sneak peek of one of Katakuri's powers. But when like Daifuku does it, and he's basically saying the same thing, like, oh, the door is about to open. But instead of like him predicting that it's about to open, he's just saying that he's about to open it himself. And he's like, there's this weird like. I imagine he's having like a dick measuring contest with Katakuri.
Well, this is also like this is filler though. We didn't see this until the wedding though.
Yeah, so they're spending some time like they're killing a couple minutes each episode, like showing us a new member of Big Mom's family arriving for the wedding, someone we haven't met before.
Kind of wish they wouldn't do that, especially with Daifuku, because I mean, with like someone like Oven, has Oven been introduced? It doesn't matter. You can guess what his power. You can guess what. Yeah, okay. So it's this recap though, and you can guess what his power is just by his name.
But I kind of like this choice.
Yeah. I don't know the surprise of seeing the genie. I really enjoyed that in the manga, and I can get that here.
I see. I do kind of like that. Like, if we're gonna have to do some filler, I don't think that this is kind of a bad. I don't think that this is a bad angle, and you kind of get a sense of, because when you're introduced to these characters in the manga, other than Katakuri, you kind of have like no frame of reference of like how important they are going to be in the story.
Well, I guess, but Jinbei did go through a whole thing, a montage of like all these powerful Charlotte family members, but he didn't really say anything about them.
So we're back to the scene. Jinbei is telling Luffy, have you heard of Capone Gang Bedge?
This flashback,
and
I want
Luffy's.
I want multiple episodes of it.
Luffy's like listening. He's nodding. There's this shot of like Sanji like putting a cigarette in his mouth, and he's got like this really goofy face, and the cigarette just like comes perfectly from off screen. And there's like there's a really bizarre. I don't know. It just makes me laugh. There's like a weird like accidental comedic timing to it. Jinbei is describing Capone as a sick young man who liked to hurt helpless living things, and we don't quite get the.
I love young Capone. I like young Capone.
We don't.
I want more of him.
We see him like stabbing a horse on the ground, but we don't quite get the Godfather reference with like the decapitated horse head.
Like you can't quite do that,
right?
On Sunday morning TV.
We get a little scene of him like as a waiter and like serving some mafia boss, but then killing him. Because he was an assassin this whole time. He is a man who even enjoyed defending against those who sought revenge, creating an impenetrable castle. He smartly affiliated himself with Big Mom and became the Rook of Big Mom's crew, head of security. And there's like this kind of random scene where just like out of nowhere, Big Mom is like, I appreciate how you work every day. I'm gonna like just like saying the most generic thing ever. Like I'm gonna.
Well, no, it's very important that he's doing security for the wedding,
right?
Like, it's kind of obvious, but you have to do the scene of like finding out that he's doing that.
I just think the line, I appreciate how you work every day. Like there's something like painfully generic about that.
There's a better way to translate that. I don't know.
Jinbei is saying, if the security guards are on our side, nothing can stand in our way. And it's like, what does he mean by that? We learn that Bedge has a plan of his own to kill Big Mom. And we get sort of, we cut back to the scene where Capone was shooting Peckham's off the cliff like months ago. And when Peckham's off the cliff.
Yesterday, right?
Yeah. Well, I mean, for us, it was months.
I know.
Peckham's falls off of the cliff and into the water, and that's when the Sun Pirates found him and caught him. And this is when Jinbei learned about Bedge's plans. And so the kind of last moment of this episode is Jinbei proposing, Luffy, let's join Bedge. And Luffy and Sanji have like these funny shocked faces.
None of this happens if Capone doesn't like lay out his plans for Peckham's, you know? It's funny that way. Yeah. Like he can't. The only way this happens is because he can't shut up about his plans.
Bond villain syndrome.
It works out this time.
Yeah. So this is kind of a funky thing that they do where they flash forward. We cut to like an hour later, and then the two crews are meeting, and they're like, it's this really stylish scene where like everyone's in harsh blacks and we don't really know what's going on, but they're about to meet, and we get a title card saying it's 3 hours until the wedding, to be continued.
That's really cool. It's like it almost looks like it's on black paper, like Batman the Animated Series or something.
Right. Episode 827, A Secret Meeting, Luffy versus the Fire Tank Pirates. Now, this one has a cold open.
The other one didn't, though. Right.
This one has a cold open. The title card begins technically at 1 minute and 49 seconds. There's a recap before that. So we back up a bit. We have to sort of fill in the blanks of what happens before they meet with Bedge's crew. Luffy is sort of explaining his reasoning for why he agrees with Jinbei's proposal. Chopper says that 4 out of 6 on the mirror side are against it. They're all kind of worried. They don't think it sounds like a good plan, but Jinbei's for it.
Yeah, this isn't really. I don't know. I don't know if they really have much input into the choice that gets made here.
Right. So the Mirror World group agrees to head to Bedge's base and wait for Luffy and Sanji to arrive. We get a little scene of Capone and Vito, and they're sort of talking about their upcoming meeting with the Straw Hats. Depends on what the Straw Hats have to say. Let's listen to what their idea is.
He also claims he killed Bobbin. I don't think the man's really dead, but maybe.
Yeah. So that's where the opening starts, and then when we come back after the opening credits, we see a new musical number with Chef Strusen and the Big Mom chefs, and they're all baking the cake. Not the most memorable song in the world.
Yeah, I feel like that was something that was actually in the manga, though.
Was it? I mean, like, well, there's definitely a scene of, Chef Strusen, like, raising his sword up in the air and inspiring his men to cook or whatever.
Yeah, they did that cool thing of like, from like the Rick and Morty like season 2 premiere where they split the screen into like 32, 64 different squares. Yeah, that's kind of cool.
We get a little scene with Peckham's and the Sun Pirates, and Peckham's is just like, "Oh, I have to warn Mom of Bedge's plans," and then Praline's just like pushing him down, like, "No, you just need to rest. Just be." I thought that was pretty funny.
Then he's like, he's increasingly suspicious of them throughout this. Some good acting going on here.
Yeah, Luffy and Sanji are greeted by Vito at Capone's castle base thing at the cliff of Big Mom's place. I like the kind of constant reminders that like Vito is like a total Jorma fanboy.
And Sanji is not happy about it. Really.
There's some Relo jokes that I don't think translate well.
Yeah.
So Chopper shows up behind Vito, and he's looking nice and squeaky clean. He's got like a towel around his neck. He looks adorable. He has his hat off. That's what it is. He, like, when he has his hat off and he's got the little puff of hair on his forehead, like, he just looks crazy.
And he's like
adorable.
He's still steaming hot. Apparently, like there's steam coming up.
Right. So and he looks very relaxed and happy. He normally doesn't even like baths, but he seems to be having a good time. It turns out that the Godfather won't meet anybody dirty, so Luffy and Sanji have to take a bath. This brings us to a bath scene between Carrot and Nami. They're showering and bathing, and Chiffon with Baby Pez is sort of talking them through everything. And we're entering the conversation, Nami's just told Chiffon about Lola on Thriller Bark, about how she was a warthog zombie. Carrot has this line like, "Oh, zombies! Wow, the sea really is a wonderland." Like, I love that connection.
Yeah, it's not a good thing, but I remember like how much I loved this scene in the manga, and not even for because it's a bad scene. I feel like I need to clarify that, but this is a very sort of intimate scene without being fan servicey, despite the fact that they're in the bathroom.
Well, obviously, this was a pretty memorable chapter for me because I was like, "Whoa!" He just literally just drew Carrot naked. That's like. But here it's like actually like I was worried that Toei was gonna like way overdo the fan service, but they actually like it's actually like there's a lot less nudity here than there is in the manga. Where was I? And so we're getting the story about Lola and Big Mom, and apparently once upon a time, Lola was being proposed to by Loki, the Prince of the Giants. And Big Mom was super excited about this because she thought this would amend her relationship with the giant people. But then didn't really go through. Lola left the island. Big Mom tried to pass Chiffon off as Lola, but Loki was not...
he was not fooled.
Yes, he was not fooled.
Yeah.
And so Chiffon spent the rest of her life suffering a lot of abuse because she has Lola's face, and Mom is now super angry at Lola.
Can we just talk about how goofy Loki looks, though? Like,
yeah,
he has stupid face. Like he's very, and it's very funny to watch him try and court Lola with the tiny little flower, but also he's got no neck and he has a really goofy face.
It's like a pseudo silhouette kind of look that they're going for. Like they clearly don't know what the full design is, so they're trying to like keep the design vague here, but it looks wrong. Like it looks like they literally just didn't think it through very hard.
I don't know. It's kind of what he looked like in the manga as well.
So we get to Chiffon is talking about how now as a result she's like totally on board with Bedge killing her mom. She's like, "Oh, that doesn't faze me at all."
Well, she's got a real family.
Yeah. Then is the scene between Luffy and Brook drinking some milk.
This also sort of skips over. We get the scene of Big Mom funding Caesar's research, which
Right.
I don't know if we've mentioned much lately.
I mean,
The gigantification research.
right. Yeah.
Mhm.
So like that's her other means of trying to sort of create giants in her for Total Land.
Right.
We get a scene between Luffy and Brook. Brook finds milk in the fridge, like conveniently 2 cartons of milk for them.
Well, Chopper was drinking one earlier.
Right.
And it's got like a crossed swords and a cow skull.
Yeah, and Luffy's, he
Pirate
totally
milk.
knows what's up now. He's like, oh, perfect. I have a crack in my tooth, and Brook is like, oh, and I have a crack in my face, and so they start drinking milk. Boom, perfectly healed. That guard, the guard working for Bedge, is just like, what's up with you guys?
Pirate milk, really good.
We have Brook trying on some different clothes. I kind of wish we spent more time with them. Like, I want to wear this. I want to wear this. I want
It's
to see
actually
the different...
funny. It's funny that last week in the last episode, he was wearing a pink like cloth.
Mhm.
Oh, and now he's wearing a pink bathrobe.
Right. So yeah, they're getting all spiffied up for they're getting in their gang outfits. Brook is in a big cushiony robot costume, which this is filler, I believe. But there is that cool detail of like
there's the scene with the girls getting their clothes first, where they do the transition. And it's just
it's kind of all in the
up.
same montage, basically.
Mhm.
But like we got Luffy and in the robot suit, and like it's a filler thing, but I love this detail of how like this is a costume based on the Germa 66 comic strip, the Sora comic strip.
Absolutely.
That Vito has around because he's a fanboy.
It's probably Vito's cosplay. Like it's probably his.
Exactly. Although I think Vito's like a lot taller than Luffy.
Probably.
Maybe from when Vito was a kid.
Right.
So we get a scene with Sanji and Nami in the hallway, and she's kind of giving him the cold shoulder. Like, oh, don't worry. When you come back to the crew, she says something like, "I'm gonna ride you like a horse," which sounds a lot dirtier than I think it's intended to.
Yeah, but I think it's sort of meant to be that way. It's been a little entendre.
And Sanji's like, oh, he's just going gaga because she's in her new dress and stuff.
Yep.
Brule and Diesel are also getting dressed up from the wedding, and like I like how like sparkly they are. Diesel in his bright yellow.
I noticed that the last time I watched this.
And then we get like a little scene of them all like the crew's together now, and we're all like marching to the meeting. I thought this part just like looked really goofy. Like I didn't think they looked very cool in the scene.
It's a very limited animation, especially because it's almost like the Simpsons characters are looking straight on into the camera.
Right.
But also, it's I don't know. They don't look like they're walking in sync.
Right. And then they're in the meeting room, and this is also in line with this. Like we're in the meeting room, everyone's getting together, except now, unlike last week, we don't have like the cool lighting. It just kind of looks really flat and dull.
Mm.
But Luffy is like asking around, "Are you Bedge?" to Chiffon, and she's like, "No." Are you Bedge?
He's the baby.
Yeah, the baby. So Bedge shows up. His shoes are very shiny. He says, "I don't do business with anyone who doesn't care about appearance." And he sits down, and looks like things are about to move. There's one guy in Bedge's crew who he looks familiar. I don't like. I don't know, maybe. Yeah. And then the final scene of the episode is Charlotte Oven arriving. His feet are like melting
through the door.
Yeah.
What's wrong with you?
We're like wondering like what's his gimmick gonna be? How is he gonna get through? Like he just walks right through it. Like he doesn't stop or anything. He just
I wonder what his power is. You know?
Yeah. And that's to be continued. The end of the episode. Any general thoughts on these episodes, Ed?
They're very slow, but it didn't bother me as much this week. I liked the tension of the just conversations that they were having, and the conversations were very exposition filled. And if I didn't already know this stuff from the manga, I'd probably like these even more.
I not a huge fan of either of these episodes. The first one I thought was like that is the pacing of the anime right now, just absolutely destroying like comedic timing, absolutely destroying, even the exposition scenes I didn't really love. I don't think either of these episodes are very pretty looking, especially not the second one. I thought it could have looked a lot better. I like the second one more though, based on the like chiffon story. Like there's an actual interesting story being told that I liked. But overall, like I think we're in kind of a like I haven't been enjoying the last couple of episodes a whole lot just because the pacing's really killing me. I think we're kind of at like an animation low point right now.
I don't want them to be like over animating episodes like this though, because they're not.
I don't even want over animate. I just want something that's like aesthetically pleasing at all.
Yeah, well, that's you can't expect that from the One Piece anime. Like it's on a regular basis.
I mean, like I recognize and I accept that it kind of goes through cycles, and I think we're at the end of this cycle of episodes that I don't like that much. But
we're gonna have some animation heavy episodes coming up. So
yeah. All right. Is anything else you want to say, or is that it?
No, that's it.
All right, let's move on to the next segment.
Sounds good.
This is the Piece Together segment where we take your questions, comments, and theories that start on our emails. First one comes from Hatem, whose name I am most certainly not pronouncing correctly. He says, keep up the awesome work. The One Piece podcast has become by far my most anticipated podcast. I'm just going to leave it there. No. He said, my question is, what are some of the instances, if any, that you have seen a One Piece related thing in a place where you did not expect to see it? For example, One Piece graffiti in New York. So do you guys have any good examples of that?
The Japanese grocery store in my hometown, and they played the one of the One Piece ending themes, first ending theme.
I remember.
Although that's kind of a place you expect to hear it, but even at that point, it was like, I don't know, 15-year-old song.
Let's see. I went to a bar in my hometown, and somebody had a One Piece tattoo of Luffy, Zoro, and Sanji.
Wow. That's cool.
Yeah, it was pretty neat. And then I was like, "Hey, listen to the podcast," and he didn't. Unless he does. Unless he does. I've seen on the subway a guy dressed in the Bartholomew Kuma shirt. You know what I'm talking about, right? Dennis probably knows.
Yeah.
I've seen a lot of One Piece shirts. I've seen people watching One Piece on their phone. Mostly, I don't know if I've seen One Piece on their phone. Actually, it might have been some other anime. The most recent sighting I saw is I was watching like a documentary on NHK World about like the Shinkansens and trains and stuff. And there was a kid wearing a One Piece shirt, of course, just like randomly there. But that's not surprising.
Oh, actually, there's another good one. I was watching special features in one of the Ghibli Blu-rays I have. And Toshio Suzuki was wearing a One Piece t-shirt when he was going to some meeting for one of the, I think for The Wind Rises or something, but he was wearing like a shabby One Piece. He's way underdressed for being the producer of this film. He's wearing like jeans and a One Piece t-shirt.
When I got off the Eurostar in Gare du Nord in Paris, there was a gigantic One Piece advertisement on one of the walls.
Nice. About a month or two ago, I was driving home on Connecticut Avenue, like right by my house, and somebody had a One Piece decal on their bumper. It was them doing the salute to Vivi.
Oh, cool!
That's cool.
Silhouettes,
Nice.
yeah, it was neat.
Nice.
The most high profile one. Oh, go ahead, Steven. Sorry, you have one.
I see a fair number of decals because I do. I live right next to a neighborhood. It's a very high percentage of Asians in SoCal, and so there's a lot of like spoiler decals and things like that. But the one thing that I did want to bring up is that there is someone who lives near there, because we've seen this car multiple times, who has a California plate that I forget if it's DTHNOTE or if it's DEATHNT. So they have a Death Note license plate, which is pretty amazing.
All right, I have a couple. One of my friends has a license plate that says Bonchan because for
Bonchan.
this too. Yeah,
That's awesome.
Nice.
I've seen a bunch of accidental, like not actual cosplay before, especially when you're like not in the same town that the convention's happening, but like the next town over. So it doesn't seem out of the ordinary. But when you see someone who has a white shirt layered on top of a green shirt wearing black pants, I can't help but think, is that person cosplaying Zorro? I
Yeah.
can't tell.
most
And then like what
Go ahead.
like what you guys said about like car stuff, there's someone who I've seen leaving from work before who has like Luffy, Chopper, and Usopp, their face like pressed against the glass of their car as a decal, so it looks like they got launched out somewhere and just like
That's
sort of
amazing.
Oh, that's
fell
awesome.
into the TV thing. Yeah, that was one of my favorite decals. Like, oh, I want that.
The most high profile one I could think of is Uniqlo is pretty big in New York, and if we talked about it earlier, but there's a lot of, they sell One Piece stuff, and I remember they had billboards all over Manhattan, and Luffy's face was on them, and that was really cool. That might have been like 7-8 years ago now. So that was also like when One Piece was super obscure, compared to at least where it is today, which is still somewhat obscure, just less so. Next question comes from Jacob, who said, if Peckham's uses his devil fruit power to protect himself from the attacks, and then undergoes the Sulong transformation, will we get a lion, turtle, Sulong, or a Litterlong? Any shortening of the transformation that would make sense? I guess verbiage wise.
You know, I was
Turtle-y.
really hoping for a lion turtle, or a turtle lion, Sulong, like a really monstrous looking, fucked up looking thing.
Yeah. I guess that is the question. Like, what would happen if he was in his Sulong form and then he used his devil fruit powers? Like, does that work the same way?
That's a good
Or not?
question. I think you really have to be able to control your Sulong, and potentially also really have to have good control over your devil fruit in order to do that.
Yeah.
I'm sure if anyone would have that ability, it would be Cat Viper or Dogstorm. If neither of them have devil fruits, right? Unless I'm forgetting.
think.
Not that we know.
I didn't think so. So if one of them did, I feel like someone in like that kind of status, or even and I guess they're the two highest ranking minks we've seen that exist or have existed. So it would probably be them, if anyone. Anyway, next question comes from Martin, who said, out of all of the Marines, whose backstory are you most curious about? Not all at once, guys.
Oh. It's a good question.
Strawberry. I'm just kidding.
I mean,
I'm glad
Kuzan
you
is
said
the
it.
obvious one. He's not in the Marines anymore, but
Yeah. I'd like
think
to see
Goku-
more. I'd like to see more with Suru, just because she's such an
Mhm.
interesting figure.
I would read a spin-off about Suru.
So would I.
Yeah. Suru and her bad biddies, is that what Steve
Yeah.
called them? When that series comes
She's
out.
so underused, but I wouldn't mind actually seeing more of like Hina,
Mm.
like
I mean,
ha-
like,
with Smoker and stuff.
I was thinking about that because I love her, but I feel like character wise, not interesting enough for me to want to know what happened in her childhood or whatever. I think like Kizaru
That's a good one.
comes to mind,
Well, yeah.
or Fujitora. Jesus,
Yeah,
like
how he was blinded, you know?
Oh, that would be great.
Well,
He
he
did to
blinded himself, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Right.
And I want to know what he's like. I want to know the kind of shit he saw. Like, yeah, Fujitora. That's
what
that's my
pushed
answer.
him to it? Yeah. Definitely.
Was he high on meth like that chick in Cosmopolitan?
I have
He
no
saw-
idea what you're referencing.
Oh, God,
He saw
yeah.
Principal Skinner and Mrs. Krabappel in the closet.
Oh, making babies, and he saw one of the babies, and the baby looked at him.
And so he sliced his eyes open.
I know what you're talking about with that Cosmopolitan thing, and I couldn't
Yeah, me either.
get through it.
Baby looked at you.
It sounds creepy. That's really it for the emails. It was kind of quiet week overall. I know people like the 2-hour plus episodes. I feel like we're not going to reach that this week. What do we have on Reddit, Steven?
All right. Well, we don't have a ton on Reddit, so I can go through all of them. We'll start with Drav Draken, who wanted to share a tinfoil theory of his or hers regarding devil fruit that I think has a decent chance of being right. It is my theory that the proper name isn't actually devil fruits. I think that the ancient kingdom created them, and when the precursor to the world government suddenly had to fight people made of rubber or lightning or strong powers, they freaked out and decided they had eaten a devil's fruit. I think they may just be the fruit of D, but the world government wrote the history, so their name stuck. What are other theories people have on the origin of devil fruit? That's interesting.
That's a pretty cool theory. I never heard that before.
I'm not. This is not necessarily to discount that, but I will point out that in Japanese it is the akama no mi. So the D isn't necessarily like a one-step thing for Oda, but if you want, like, it would be like, oh, now, guess what? They actually use the English word devil. That's right. Did you know English exists in the world of One Piece? It'd be a little tricky.
How else would they write their bounties?
He did that before 3D2Y.
That's true. Yeah.
Yeah, it's not. What do I mean to say there is it's not out of the wheelhouse, even though I wouldn't put my money on that.
Right. Any other thoughts about? Yeah. No. It's an interesting one. I think that dynamic, at least, of the powers coming or being related to the ancient kingdom, and thus the government having a certain view on them is probably a decent chance that that's accurate. Mm-hmm. We'll see. Hatem H. Hey, wait a minute. You already got a question. Well,
yeah, that's true.
You did write a different.
Submit everything.
Yeah, right. Cover your bases. Hatem did ask, where do you think Judge is? Why didn't he show up in the panel?
He's injured, right?
He's crying in the...
Yeah, he's crying. He had a boo-boo.
Yeah.
Him more than I think the rest of his family, probably. More damage.
He's leading from the back.
Oh yeah, he was pretty brutally wounded.
He got hit in the face.
Who hit him again? I can't even remember.
Yeah, I don't remember either.
Was it Oven?
No, it wasn't Oven. Was it Oven?
It was a Genie Weenie.
I hope it was Genie Weenie.
Yeah.
That was a while ago, it feels like.
Yeah.
Jesus.
That was right when the cake was before the cake fell down.
It's right before the cake fell down. It was like the chapter before it fell down. Yeah, he got taken out at like the worst time. If he just made it that one more chapter. Go ahead. Yeah.
All right. Professional Sinker says, my favorite part of the chapter was Sanji saving Luffy. That almost never happens in this series where a member of Luffy's crew saves him rather than vice versa. It was good to see. So I'm curious, do you guys think Pedro's really dead or not? I'm kind of thinking the answer is no because Oda, but if he really is dead, it would provide an interesting motivation for Peckham's to join the Straw Hats at the end of this arc. He's effectively burned every bridge he had with Big Mom, so he's going to have to join someone to survive in the new world. Joining Luffy and the Straw Hats would allow him to carry on Pedro's will.
I think you just go back to Zoe.
Yeah.
I think it's Nox Pirates reborn once again. I think they're going to just resurrect that Mink crew.
Yep. With Carrot.
Grand Fleet.
Exactly. Yep.
Yeah, that does seem more like I really do agree with what we were saying earlier about him kind of being the Hachi of this arc, where he's kind of a lovable side character, but doesn't really have the hero profile, I guess I would say, for the crew itself. Oh boy, here topical. Nivers wants to know, how would each of these Straw Hats handle daylight savings time?
Good question.
Well, we know Luffy doesn't know what time is, right?
Yeah, Luffy and Zoro would just sleep through it.
They don't have to get up for anything usually.
Yeah.
So none of them really do. Let's be fair.
I think the one who would actually change the clock forward would be Usopp, because I feel like he has the most farmer mentality. But it's also because of the overalls. I'll be honest.
It's also complicated. I think we talked about this a few weeks ago in a Piece Together question, but they keep changing time zones too. So.
Oh yeah, that's true.
Like.
Oh, but Usopp also cultivates stuff. He is a farmer, literally. So, I guess if there was anyone who would actually care about daylight savings, it would be him. So he would change the clocks, and nobody would be any the wiser, except for Robin, because she's a pretty smart, sharp son of a gun.
Mm-hmm.
Daughter of a gun. I've never used the word son of a gun to describe a female before, so I had to think about that.
Pretty sharp cookie. Watch out, don't eat that cookie. Let's see. Mensel STH says, name a Charlotte family member you'd like to see a spin-off series about. For me, it's Mondor. I want to see what made this happy-go-lucky clown so miserable.
His bookmobile burnt down.
Yeah, he's like a really jaded librarian. That's the real answer.
I don't know. Smoothie would be pretty cool.
Yeah. I feel like we just haven't seen enough of Smoothie to get like her really silly side characteristic.
Yeah.
Well,
Besides,
I like
her growing.
Yeah, that's interesting. I'm sure we're gonna find out about that before the arc is done.
Charlotte family members. I don't know.
I like Oven. He's my favorite, but I think Daifuku would be interesting just because his fruit is so weird. And I want to know the kind of relationship he has with the genie that lives inside of his belt buckle / tummy.
I wouldn't mind something with Brûlée just sort of bumbling her way through life.
A branch?
Yeah.
Branch, yeah.
Branch,
I could just
yeah.
see it being like, she's like just always making mistakes and screwing stuff up.
Yeah. I was gonna point out in the manga recap itself that like Brûlée has spent most of the arc being like captured, obviously, with all the mirror stuff. But it seems like every time, even the times that she like, there's some scheme afoot and she has the potential to like tell the rest of the family like, hey, help me, it's this Straw Hat's hiding or something like that. Instead, she just screams like, help me, and she doesn't actually say anything useful.
Yeah.
That kind of makes me laugh.
I want to know where her scar came from because she's pretty. I feel like she's had a propensity to threaten others with scarring their face. And I wonder
I think
if
it's a witch stereotype, and she's supposed to look like a fairy tale witch, I think.
Well, yeah, she definitely is, but I wonder if that's a mama-related incident.
What if it was one of the big mom's children's who, I forget which one, so long ago, who were like, give me a knife. I want a knife.
Oh, the kid?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
When you hang out in a spooky like Snow White forest with lots of jagged branches, you just kind of comes with the territory that you get snagged.
True.
Reynard Not a Fox says, just want you guys to know I'll be buying a Jump subscription for my niece on her birthday. She's been wanting to get into manga for a while, and I tend to show her all the right places for high quality, legally available material. Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
Yay.
That's very cute.
My question for the podcast is, if you were to rank your least favorite pizza places as Impel Down levels, what would your choices be?
Domino's is level 6.
No.
No.
The other way around.
No. That's what I meant. I meant to say Papa John's. I meant to say Papa John's. I've never.
Pizza Hut's not much better than Papa John's.
Well, I
Papa
I
John's
actually
is
order
level
from
6.
Domino's.
Yeah, Domino's is probably the best terrible pizza.
Yes.
I like.
It's better than Pizza Hut.
I mean,
above Pizza
I feel
Hut.
like you might find a buggy in a Domino's pizza, but not like there might be a colorful character or something.
So where does Little Caesars rank then? Because Little Caesars is pretty terrible.
Yeah, I was gonna say I've never had Little Caesars.
It's bad.
It's still bad, but they've improved. But it's still still not great.
I guess
Probably around the same way Pizza Hut is, I think.
Little Caesar still has crazy bread, so they have a little bit of an edge there. Manny and Olga's is fucking bad.
Okay. It's DC, man. That's a DC only thing, I think.
Yeah, but but you can concur.
If only there's not a lot of great pizza in DC, but
DC, as far as getting pizza goes, is not a very good place to go for pizza, unless you want to go to And Pizza, and that's a chain.
And Pizza Paradiso, is that still there? I used to love that place.
Paradiso's good, actually. Yeah, Paradiso's good.
That's like
doing.
Here's a hypothetical question: does Costco count as bad pizza?
Yes.
Because if it did, I would say like level
take
1,
and bake?
like level 1 at the entrance of Impel Down.
Or like most like Elio's pizza would also be pretty far down there for me.
Oh, what about Famiglia's, Zach?
Famiglia's isn't terrible at all, Like, even, like, Famiglia and Sbarro aren't awful. They're just not, like, real pizza. They're not real New York pizza. And people who say it is are wrong.
So we need to
From
rank these then.
Alaska.
Where
Or
would
from
you
Alaska.
rank Chuck E. Cheese pizza?
Or the current president.
Oh, Chuck E. Cheese pizza. Okay.
I don't
so
remember what Chuck E.
Chuck E.
Cheese
Cheese.
tasted like.
I've had it. Ugh.
Chuck E.
Chuck E.
Cheese pizza
Cheese.
is bad.
So
Oh,
bad.
what about Cece's? Cece's pizza.
I've never had
Ugh.
CC.
CC's
I've actually never been.
CC's
bad.
is like, edible, and that's all I could say about
You
it.
guys are all naming level 6 worthy.
That's what makes the question.
Chuck E. Cheese pizza is like you can't tell from the smell whether it's the regular pizza or whether it's the stuff that got barfed into the ball pit.
Wow.
That is very true.
Wow. This is
any
my
crust that has holes at the bottom of it and is also shiny is bad. Like let's just get that out of the way. Like
I've never had DiGiorno. Is it
it's
delivery?
shit.
It's shit.
It's
Okay.
shit. Get
That's
rid.
like take home. So that I thought we're doing like chains.
Are we
So,
just
like,
doing
takeout.
chains? I
Yeah,
thought
we
we
were
were
doing
going
chains.
everywhere.
Because
Yeah.
because if we're doing take home, Celeste is down there at the bottom. Like,
Oh,
let's be
fuck
honest.
you.
Never had
Mama
that.
Celeste French bread pizza all the way
No,
up.
no, not that one. Like the thin Celeste, like $1 for 10, like 10
Oh,
pizzas for $1.
Can't
That
get
one.
a 7-Eleven.
Oh,
right next to
7-Eleven
Tino's
pizza,
Burritos.
probably.
It is pizza places.
Yeah.
It was pizza places.
Oh, okay,
so
sorry.
let's
I went way
so
outside of
so
that.
how many
What
levels are
about
there?
7-Eleven? What about 7-Eleven pizza? Because I've seen people I work with eat that for lunch.
I've
Okay.
had it drunk, and it's terrible even when
What?
you're drunk.
Yeah.
No,
What
I have-
horrible den of depression are you working at, Ed?
Okay, so you guys, we need 7 pizza places because we need 5 Impel done 5.5 in there too. So if we're
No,
doing a
5.5 would be fun, but like bad, but it's fun,
So Chuck E. Cheese because there's
Oh yeah, Chuck E. Cheese is
a plate-
perfect.
Oh, the stage show! It's amazing.
Yeah, you don't want to be there.
It is.
You don't
It
want to
is.
be
5.5
there, but
is Chuck
it
E.
tastes
Cheese.
terrible. But at least everything
Confirmed.
around you is fun.
Christopher Sabat will be there in the Galaxy 3000.
hashtag Zcash.
5.5.
And you
Chuck E.
thought we
Cheese.
weren't going to get to 2 hours, Zach.
Yeah, true. Just ask
We're
ask
devoting
one
45
pizza
minutes
question.
to this segment alone.
You ask one.
So I guess we're not ranking them.
If you ask one pizza or dog question, you've got to set for a half hour extra at least.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
Now they know. Now
Yeah.
they know.
Good stuff.
All right. BTAD NYC says, "Hey OPP, hope you enjoyed the chapter this week." Oda?
Wait,
No,
what?
Luffy falling asleep in Sanji's arms was one of my favorite details in the scene. What I liked in particular about it is that it sets up a new moment of closure for Sanji and his family that Luffy will be missing. This would be pretty typical because Luffy tends to miss a lot of the emotional backstory that comes with his friends and crew. The best examples of this habit are when he slept through Nami and Jinbei's backstory, or how Luffy didn't even know Chopper was a doctor when he joined. I'm thinking the person Luffy knows the best on the crew has to be either Usopp or Brook, but who do you think it could be? Why does Luffy pay so little attention to his friends' pasts?
Well,
This feels all the way back to the Arlong arc too, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's what we're talking about.
Yeah.
I mean, like, it's Luffy. He usually doesn't care about the circumstances. It's very like to the point. Like, well, I don't care. You're my friend.
Yeah,
Like-
Luffy lives in the present. He doesn't
Yes.
dwell on what happened to you back then.
Yeah.
As long as they're cool people now.
And he lives on intuition, so it's like, I know this is a good person, I trust them. You don't need to. He doesn't need a sympathetic story to get him to like them. Once
That's
he
part of
knows
his hockey abilities, apparently.
So
For
what's probably going to happen then is some pretty big shit's going to go down. Luffy's going to be conked out for the rest of the arc. He'll wake up and he'll be like, "Oh, we got Sanji back. That's all that matters. Let's
It's
go
party
to
time.
Zoe
Let's eat and drink.
or Wano." Yeah, like that's basically going to be the long and short of it. I don't know. My prediction.
Oh wait, no, we
Based
predicted
on-
the cake was going to wake him up.
Oh yeah.
And the cake is elsewhere at the
The
moment.
cake is
Yeah,
very
it's
far away.
very
at this
far
point.
away.
Nuts
Yeah.
Island, right?
They're heading to Fluffy Island.
Fluffy,
Oh, yeah.
yeah.
Chiffon's Fluffy Island.
Is that Fua
Yeah.
Fua? Is that
Fua fua.
yeah?
Or is that
Yeah,
floating?
that's the
Ooh,
Japanese.
ooh,
Yeah. All right. Atlanta for Life has a general question about One Piece. How do you think this current generation stands against the previous? Roger and Whitebeard were the strongest of their generation, and Whitebeard had no equal in the One Piece world at the time of Marineford. So does that mean Luffy's generation is weaker? Does that weaken his claim to being the Pirate King, at least with respect to Roger?
No, I think this generation is stronger overall. I mean, these are the people who were inspired by Gold Roger. So I feel like that's a larger group of people.
I think that that does seem to be a kind of an undercurrent of the story, is that like this is an entire generation that's been raised on that story, as opposed to all the people who were like, hey, I just heard about this, let's go get this treasure. These are the guys who were like, oh, we've been growing up on this story.
Right.
Yeah, now it's their turn to make their mark and stuff. I think just a lot of people of this generation, so it's hard pinpointing it down to who would be the equivalents to like Roger and Whitebeard right now.
Yeah. Yeah, it's hard to say, and it's hard to say like without knowing kind of what the big answers to all the big questions are about, you know, what is the One Piece, how do you get to Raftel and all these things like that, as to how to like truly judge how do they stack against Roger and things like that.
Then there's a holdover like Shanks, who was in Roger's crew, and like, do you count him as the previous generation or current?
Yeah, there you go. Sengoku the Gouda says, I would listen to a podcast that was just Brule and Caesar bitching about the Straw Hats for an hour each week. Maybe throw in special appearances by Buggy every couple of months to keep it fresh.
So this person wants a Casey podcast, basically.
Yeah.
Sounds like it.
And here's the question. Do you all know any people talented enough to make my dream into reality?
I should read these first.
Perhaps as a special to ring in the start of April. Well, you know, we'll have to record several takes with Casey playing all of the separate parts. So
no, we'll make him do it in one take.
Yes.
It'll be the worst, best monologue ever.
Yeah, he's a man of many hats. Black Northwind says, is it just me, or with Luffy developing his Observian hockey, can he also see through people's disguises? This is the second time in this arc there that this has happened, because he did immediately recognize Peckham's rather than Mistum's.
Our little monkey boy is growing up.
Or could perhaps his experience as Lucy have helped him a little? I don't think it's that, but I don't know. Like, I'm still kind of torn. Like, I'm not really sure why it was that he immediately recognized Peckham's when he didn't, you know, recognize Usopp, for example.
Or the fake Straw Hat crew.
Yeah.
And that was since the time skip, too. So.
Yeah, that one was especially, you know, absurd and stupid.
Although less so because he hadn't seen them yet.
Yeah, maybe he thought they just changed that much in that time.
That was his reasoning.
Yeah.
What's next? Yeah.
All right, last question from Joshua019. This is a very practical one. What time is the cutoff point for posting on Reddit? And
I'd say elsewhere as well. Yeah.
Yeah, I used to actually type in a thing, but I've kind of slacked off on doing that. But usually I would say like I open up the Reddit page when we start recording, and then I don't like refresh it after that. And we don't actually always read every single question that is asked. But I would say a general cutoff would be around, I guess for me, it would be 3 or 4 p.m. on Mondays. That would be Western time. So 6 or 7 Eastern in the United States. So use that as a guideline. That's when I am looking at Reddit.
Yeah. Thank you, Stephen, for looking at Reddit and reading Reddit for us.
You're welcome.
Ed, it's time too.
Peace the treasure.
Thank you, Ed. What's going on Twitter?
Tweet time.
Yeah.
There's one comes from FanboySins124 says, Hedorin, OVP. Describe one episode from hit TV show in Whole Cake Island, Keeping Up with the Charlottes.
Nope.
I couldn't even if I wanted to. I mean, I've never watched an episode of that show.
Yeah,
They
does
go
watch
I
watch the
don't
Kardashian show?
Nope.
No.
Yeah.
Mm-mm.
They
Okay.
go buy ingredients. I don't know. They shop. Sure.
I mean, I
So
think
much
Oda
gossip.
would watch that. Yeah, well.
I don't know. Brule wants to start a sock line.
Okay.
Can we move on to the next question? For the love of
Next
God.
one. It's from Captain Damian Nolan. Says, create the least fashionable outfit possible based on articles of clothing One Piece characters have worn. My example: Doflamingo's coat, Parasparrow's hat, Tamago's egg pants, Ivankov's stockings, and high heels. Fisher Tiger's frog, no hippo shirt.
Are you kidding? That is an awesome outfit.
Great, yeah.
Let's be fair, though. I have no taste, but I like it.
So
I like it too.
Tamago doesn't have egg pants. That's his actual bottom.
Good point as well. He is an egg man. He is
He
the
is.
egg man.
Cuckoo.
Well, now he's a chicken man.
That's true.
Chicken man.
But remember, he goes back to being an egg man if he's sliced one more time because, you know, what came first. It's really hard
This
to
isn't-
say.
This isn't a specific item of clothing, but I will say that when I think of like canon outfits that these Straw Hats have worn that I think are really ugly, one of the first things that I think of is Nami's outfit in Strong World, like the Rasta.
The rainbow.
Yeah, that
Mhm.
weird
Oh, yeah.
extremely skimpy top
Yeah.
and the very tiny short shorts.
Oda
How
has
about,
had some
How about a
very
male
weird...
character? Oh, sorry. Go ahead. Go
No,
ahead.
please add, Ben. Go.
How about a male character wearing like Miss Doublefinger's S&M gear?
There you go.
The thing is, Sanji has been in... I can't even remember what movie, but there was one of the movies where he was dressed in something really absurd, and now I can't remember.
I think Sanji wore a sweater with a tie.
Yes, I think that's the one I'm
It
thinking.
doesn't make any sense.
No. Oda goes a little too crazy with the outfits in the movies sometimes. Even in the I think it's been kind of carrying over in the series occasionally. I think this arc has seen the Straw Hats as their best dressed. I think the outfits have been super cool this arc.
They've
Yeah,
been
I would
great.
agree.
Yeah.
Worst
style.
dressed will always be the 15th anniversary outfits.
Oh, God.
Yes, yeah, actually, that's
Oh.
correct. That is always
Anybody
gonna be-
wearing-
Always.
Any of those is bad. I also tweeted about this earlier that a lot of the pre-time skip outfits in the Pirate Warriors games are bad.
I like
Like Nami's-
Frankie's, if I recall.
Frankie's is just Frankie's with a star in his speedo and like and a band of bullets or whatever.
Didn't he have
a
that like
bandolier.
coat? He had that, or am I thinking of something else? I might be.
You're probably thinking of something else.
Yeah.
Like Nami's got something that kind of similar to what she's wearing on Enies Lobby, but it's all pink, and Usopp's wearing. It's a weird variation of what they are supposed to be wearing. It just doesn't look good. This is another way for me to get on my soapbox. Apparently,
Ed,
carry
what's
on.
What's next?
Alex
Oh.
doesn't like a video game costume.
Oh, I also think Sabo is badly dressed because steampunk is bad.
I
But
like
there's not enough.
Sabo's.
There's not enough brown or brass on Sabo.
Oh, that's true.
We need less steampunks, more cyberpunks.
To be fair, he was doing it before it was cool. He literally was dressed like that as a kid. He never
was
changed
never
his
cool.
style. Ed,
Next one comes from Quick Quest. Says, what kind of things do you see Zoro doing in Wano? I would imagine he would actively want to learn the origin of his swords. Maybe that's how he could become a better swordsman in a way other than fighting. The weight of a weapon can be from its legacy. It doesn't sound like something Zoro would do.
No.
I don't think Zoro cares about history either.
I
He
think
would be
maybe
trying to
about,
find sake.
maybe about like making swords. That could be interesting to him.
Yeah, he would want to find like where are the good swordsmen to
Right.
test myself against them.
Yeah.
But that's more of a Tashigi thing, like actually being interested in the sword itself.
yeah, he's not a sword nerd, but I mean, he'll probably it's more of a feeling for him, I think, than like a I wonder if this one has the right blah 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 on the right.
Right.
Yeah.
Now, I think it'd be super cool if Frankie or Usopp learned how to forge swords.
Yes,
Oh, that would be
Usopp,
kinda
I
cool.
feel like would probably be better suited for that. Even
Usopp might do some weird parlor trick into the sword,
Oh,
though.
God.
So maybe Zoro might not like that.
yeah, like a cuckoo bird comes out of the sword.
All right, next one comes from Mikamat, who says, my question is inspired by Sam, our very own anime recap host. Does anyone know why every 2-page spread in volume 58 has borders around them? I thought it was a stylistic choice, but now I'm curious if there's another reason. Love the show and the people on it.
We've discussed this, and I don't think we know the answer, right, Stephen?
No, I don't think it was ever
Addressed.
revealed. Yeah.
I feel like it might have been even a mistake.
Yeah, it could have been.
I mean, I remember that when it happened, and we didn't have any answers then. So.
I don't know how to feel about it still, too. I don't know whether I like it or don't like it.
Yeah.
I don't know. Those were really cinematic pages on, like, if you read them digitally or, you know, in the pages of Shonen Jump. So there's something that's a little lost with that. On the other hand, you get the whole piece of art, you know.
Yeah, there's a part of me that likes having the borders there, but it also does shrink. You know, you're not seeing as much of the art.
You don't get that.
It definitely calls attention to it, like, because you've never seen it like that before.
Yeah.
So it does set it apart.
But like every page in volume 58 is a 2-page spread, so it really sticks out. If it were like,
maybe it's the save on ink printing costs.
That is actually not a terrible theory. What's next?
Man, I just opened a random page in here, and it's Luffy crashing the pedestal, like with the 3 admirals and the God.
It is such a good volume.
Such a good volume. Amazing volume. Next one comes from Stacy Chen. It says, we've seen a few alter egos this arc with Gastino and Mistums. If you could create an alter ego, what would you call yourself, and how would you disguise yourself, in quotes?
Well, we do that every day on the internet, don't we?
That's true. He's right. My name would be Zach. I would have a...
Alex, you have quite the wardrobe.
That's true.
What would you wear if you were going incognito?
I have a luchador mask.
Do we only get to choose things we own? Because I don't have a lot of choices besides suits, guys.
Oh, I also have a really sweet felt hat that I bought at an antique store for $20.
I have a costume closet, so I'm ready.
Oh, I also have a beard that I can readily shave off at any time, and I look very different without a beard. So, I'm good for disguises.
It takes me over 8 hours to grow a beard.
I have many cosplay wigs to get into disguise as well.
All right. What would you call yourself if you were in disguise, though? I'm curious for that.
Schmallex.
That would give away my disguise plans.
Or a guy incognito.
I would also call myself Schmallex.
I would call myself not Schmallex.
Which one is the real Schmallex?
Oh, figure it out.
All right, last one comes from Nika Ross, who says, Go Germa 66. Do the Germa make it out of this intact, or do they suffer major injuries or losses? And will we see a Germazord? And is Luffy just going to sleep through the rest of this?
Oh, man. I sure hope for a Germazord. I've been wanting that.
All the snail ships form vehicle Voltron. Go.
Oh, my God, yes.
Like it turns into it, like they all stack on top of each other and they all turn into a giant robot?
Yeah.
Awesome.
Exactly.
I kind of hope Luffy does sleep through the rest of this, because I feel like like Oda has earned that development to like not have Luffy be conscious after everything he's been through so far, and also to not have it, to not be sort of feel required to have Luffy do yet more heroics to get them out of this. Like let Sanji and the other characters do more cool stuff.
Yeah, that's how much Luffy trusts. Like
exactly, yeah, it works.
We'll make it out. Yeah.
All right, so that'll do it for Piece Together. We have some really good trivia coming up, so let's stick around for that. Also, we're going to sign off like we do every single week for the last 9 years, so let's get into that.
Yay.
This has been the One Piece Podcast, episode 510 for the week of Monday, March 12th, 2018. Before we get into the closings, I want to mention God's Will from Funimation will be on with us next week. He got a super awesome tattoo, Sun Pirates tattoo. That is, there's a video of that Funimation posted. It's on their Facebook page and Twitter page. I'm not sure if it's anywhere else, but I would suggest to check that out. Proving that God's Will is the best of One Piece fans. It definitely takes a lot of commitment for that. If you haven't, please subscribe to us on Patreon, also at patreon.com/One Piece Podcast. We have new stuff coming out this week, and once we hit the $1,000 threshold for the second time, we will post the newest Alex and Steve Eats One Piece. It probably won't be immediately after that happens, but soon after that happens. And that's going to do it. Dennis, how could the good people out there contact you?
You can find me on Twitter and Instagram at Itchnob, and I also do a podcast where I talk about old school anime while drinking a couple of bottles of wine with my friends called the Vintage Anime Club Podcast. We actually just went over Macross Plus, and next week we're going to go back to talking about Nazca, which was the anime that got featured on the Malcolm in the Middle intro.
You know, I had just watched Macross Plus for the first time like a month or two ago, and man, really the echoes of Cowboy Bebop are really in there.
Yeah, it's Yoko Kanno doing music that fit like between. It was like a blend of bebop and Escaflowne for that kind of.
And like and Shinichiro Watanabe was also involved with it, and like the dogfight scenes are got so much like the story is, and with the story the story is very evocative of Cowboy Bebop as well.
Kelly.
Sure.
Yeah.
You can find me on Twitter and Instagram at Karuri, and it's going to be a lot of Japan pics coming up. So if you like photos of themed food, you're going to love what I'm going to be posting in the next couple weeks.
So you're going
Good.
to
I love
that.
photos of themed food. Good.
Stephen.
Well, if you'd like to follow me on Twitter, I can be found at Translatosaurus, mostly just for cat pictures of videos.
I need to keep up with the dog stuff. Alex.
You can call me. Call me on my Twitter.
Anytime.
Call me anytime with your theories, questions, and concerns. I'm at 1-800-527-MAGI.
You can't just make up numbers.
Dialing that right now.
That's what
We
I
can't
think our
afford a
number
toll
is.
free number, dude.
That's what I think our number is.
He meant 555-5555.
Oh yes, that's the number that exists in real life. You can follow me on Twitter at dude exclamation all one word. You can also check out the podcast that I do with Joey Weiser and Scott Dryman every month called Toho Yaro. We just released a double whammy of episodes, Blade of the Immortal and Battle Royale, so check that out. And you can find us on Twitter at Toho Yaro. And Super Art Fight wise, we just launched a Kickstarter, and we not only that, but it was funded day one. So please contribute to it to get some awesome stretch goals. It's our home game. It's called Cute Animals on Fire. It's a fun card game that or a party card game, I guess you could call it. You don't need to be able to draw to enjoy it. Go to Kickstarter.com and search for Cute Animals on Fire. It'll still be up for another month. And I believe that is it. Oh, AwesomeCon. But if you're going to be in Washington, D.C. at the end of March, Super Art Fight will be at AwesomeCon, and I will be performing. So come check us out.
That's part of Super Art Fight.
As part of Super Art Fight.
You're in a lot of things. I just want to make sure.
Yes.
Ed, how could the good people out there contact us?
You're Zach_Logan on Twitter. I am Edward E. One Piece, and you can follow me for early 90s OVA related shit posting. The podcast can be found at onepiecepodcast.com, twitter.com, youtube.com, and facebook.com/onepiecepodcast. onepiecepodcast@gmail.com is our email address. onepiecepodcast is our Skype name. Please support us, patreon.com/onepiecepodcast, reddit.com/r/onepiecepodcast to leave us some peace together. Subscribe on SoundCloud, subscribe on Google Play, subscribe, rate, and review on Apple Podcasts. Or call us on our phone number, Zach.
That phone number is 347-497-MAGI. That phone number again is 347-497-6254. Call anytime.
At all.
With your questions, your comments, or ways to stop the impending Clone War. Thank you all for coming on the show today. But before we go, we have one more thing. We have trivia for those who have not played. Have you all played trivia with us now by this point? Yes, Dennis? Okay.
Yes.
So what we do is I will name a category or something along those lines, and you just have to name all the characters in that category without repeating one or without saying an incorrect one, and I will give you a rough amount of time to, to figure that out, kind of keeping it speedy. Today, Shit, I forgot to look up. So I'm using One Piece Wiki for these answers. So if you disagree with them, please let them know and not me. So we're going to be going through, and they use the Japanese term. So I believe this is armament hockey. Is that Buso Shoku? Is that right?
Yes.
Stephen? Okay. That's what I thought. I just wasn't 100%. So we're going to go through all of the people who have been introduced canon-wise who have armament hockey. The more it makes Steven groan, the better I'm doing my job. There's a lot, so you should be able to, Anyway, why don't we get started? The order we're going to do this in is Steven's going to go first, then Dennis. It's just the order we
what
did the
about
manga
me?
recap. You're last. Steven, Dennis, Alex, Kelly, and Ed. Got it?
Okay.
Got it.
Okay, we're gonna start. Steven, sometimes being first is good because you could say anything you want.
Luffy.
Yeah. Dennis.
Virgo.
Yes. You mean Virgo-san? Or
Sorry.
Mr. Virgo?
Mr. Virgo.
Where are we here? Alex.
Zoro.
Yes. There's a lot. Ed. Kelly.
Jinbei?
Yes. Ed.
Vista?
Yes. Do you know your order? Otherwise, I won't say your name. You could just keep going.
No,
Steven.
I don't.
Sanji?
Yeah. Yes. Sorry, Dennis.
Whitebeard.
Yep. Alex.
Sabo.
Yep. Kelly.
Doflamingo?
Ed.
Oh, Pika.
Yep. Steven.
Mr. Anime. What's his name? Oh my god, I literally cannot remember his name. That wasn't even a guess.
Me neither, and I'm looking at the list.
Wow. Even I remember his name.
Gladius. That's probably not even true.
No, you know what? He's not on this list.
Okay, great.
So, Steven, you're free.
I think that is actually his name, though. 'cause
Gladius
I was-
is-
That is his
Correct.
name, yeah.
Yeah.
Dennis.
Let's see. Gonna go with.
It's a lot left.
Oh man.
3 seconds.
All right, let's go with Lao G.
Wow, gee. I don't think so.
All right.
Yeah, I don't think Lao G did have it. I just remembered who that was. That took me a while. Where are we? Alex. It's Alex, Kelly, and Ed are left.
Marco.
Yep. Kelly.
Mihawk.
Yep. Ed.
Oh, Dun Chin Zhao.
Yeah, let me find him. I know he had it. There he is. Alex.
Don Sai.
Good, using his full name now. Kelly.
Katakuri.
Yep. Ed.
Uh,
left.
Idio.
No, I don't think
No?
so. Not according to Wiki. Alex.
No, Bellamy. Fuck.
Well, that's not how this game works.
Too late. Too late.
Well, if they, you see, the funny thing is, if neither of them got one, you could have stayed in the game, Ed. But okay, Alex,
Can I say Bellamy?
you can.
Great.
Kelly,
Tashigi, I think.
yeah, she does. Here she is. Alex,
Smoker.
yep. Kelly,
Fujitora.
yep. Alex,
Oh.
3 seconds. A lot of people.
So, Hancock.
I will take it. Kelly,
Kinemon.
yes. Alex,
Dogstorm.
what? Oh yeah, it's sorry.
Sorry.
Those
Or
are the-
Inuarashi, I guess, would be on the.
No. I don't see either of those here. I guess we never saw him with that. So Kelly, if you could get this, you win.
Kuzan.
Yep. And you guys were still Any others that you want to throw out there?
When have we
Also
seen?
the Amazon Lily people? Because I
And
forgot
all
that
the
they could do it.
admirals, right?
Jesus.
All the three admirals.
All
for
three
sure.
admirals.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Have we
this-
seen them? Have we seen them use hockey though? Like that's the.
I
Is
mean,
it
I,
like-
They
We've seen-
imbue their arrows with armored
Yeah.
hockey.
yeah.
Well,
No. I mean, like not the Amazon. I mean the
He was
admirals.
on. I think
Oh,
he was
sorry.
on at the Punk Hazard.
Punk Hazard, and we saw them. What
Sabati,
One Piece
right?
Wiki might be using even beyond Sabati might be the remember the Macarena when they all did the Macarena? That might technically have been armament hockey. You guys were missing. There's a lot. Marigold, Sandra Sonia, Boo. Everyone remembers him.
Don Boo.
Kizaru, Cadenza, Counter, Cracker, Big Mom, Jesus
yeah.
Burgess, Jozu, Conjuro, Margaret, it's Margaret, right? That's
Yeah,
Margaret.
Yeah.
Garp, Peckham's, Ace. Peckham's was
Garp.
back in Fishman Island. Ace, Akainu,
Ace.
Sentamaru, Shanks, Rayleigh, Law, and Drake.
Can
Wow.
Ace use hockey?
You see, I don't remember
I
that
don't
happening.
remember that.
They have some of these start off, and I don't know what the common theme with those are. So those that were started off were Whitebeard, Ace. I think it's because it was pre-time skip that they were using something, but it wasn't necessarily. It didn't look
So-
imbued, but
Did
it
they
had the same.
Did they show
effects.
that in his cover story at all for Ace?
Or maybe
I
they
don't
mean
think
because
so.
they're
No, I
dead.
don't think.
Trying to remember.
The only
I
three
think,
people
I think
are
they might be
Whitebeard,
using
Ace,
the
and
video
Virgo.
games to go by that.
I hope not. Well, no one said Ace anyway, so that's not under, the rest of the ones you said
Yeah.
all definitely have had it at some point in time, I believe.
Sure.
Okay, so congratulations, Kelly. You will win one donut next time I see you.
Yay.
That's going to do it. Next week, God's will be with us. We will not be us. He will be
It will
with
be
us.
us.
For a manga
We
recap
are
of...
God's will.
I feel like God's will is always with me.
That's true.
God's will is in your heart.
We'll be back for a manga recap of chapter 898 and an all-new anime recap, plus piece together more trivia. So we'll see you next week, everyone. My name is Zach.
My name is Ed.
Name is Alex.
We'll see you next week. Goodbye.
Later.
Bye.
Is that he gone?
Steven's still angry. Begun the Clone Wars have here. I apologize.
Jesus.